Current scene, up, down, and up again. Current music track, fripperies. The library always seems cooler than the rest of the building. Probably to keep the books from getting damaged by excessive heat and humidity. Books are sturdy objects, but if you want to keep them in a good condition, it takes a little effort. I bought a good book yesterday, or it's good so far, I haven't finished it yet. It's called Hotel Magnifique. It's just about, well, a magic hotel that, like, changes location, and this girl and her sister get trapped inside of it. Like, by change location, I mean it literally moves around the world every day. I've got several books that are so well worn, the pages are barely clinging to the spine. And apparently it doesn't return to the same location in the world until 10 years later. Seems impossible for them to still be usable, but if you handle them with care. I make my way to the main desk, where I spot Yuko busying herself with something or another. She smiles at me as I enter and waves. Hello, Hisao. Good to see you again. What are you looking for this time? Nothing in particular, I guess. I just didn't really feel like going back to my room, is all. Yuko nods. Well, if you're unoccupied, maybe you can help me look for something? Sure, what do you need? Yuko brings a finger to her lip and looks around furtively. Oh, why did it get quiet? She seems to be looking for eavesdroppers. Come closer. I take a few hesitant steps forward while feeling distinctly unnerved. I wonder why Yuko's not around anyway. Yuko lowers her voice to a confidential whisper. I'm on the trail of the Yamaku cat burglar. There's a cat burglar? The what? What music is this? High tension. Up, down, and up again. I'm so confused what that means. The what? Shh! The walls have ears, Hisao. Or they might. But listen, there's missing books. Remember them? Yeah? Well, they weren't missing. They were stolen. Gasp! I'm convinced of it. Why did I gasp, then say gasp? I remember you saying something of the sort earlier, but how do you know? Yuko leans in closer and, if possible, whispers even lower. Because I found one of his hiding places. You did what? Yuko looks triumphant. Found one of his stashes. It was under one of the stairwells in the boys' dorms. Is it Kenji? 3 books I'd been looking for. All there. I suspected a thief before, but this proves it. So did you take back the books? Yuko looks as if I was just suggesting she walk around naked. What? Are you nuts? He can't know I'm onto him. He might go to the ground and evade capture. Yeah, how dare you suggest the library take back their own books? So what do you need my help with, then? Yuko casts another glance around the library and leans in closer. You've got to spy for me. Spy? Yeah, like when you're in the dorms, you know? Keep an eye out for suspicious activity. What constitutes suspicious, anyway? I mean, Kenji's a pretty suspicious dude, but I'll wager he barely goes to class, much less sneaks into the library to pilfer books. Still, what's the harm in saying yes? At the least, it'll get me out of this weird conversation. Yeah, I can do that. No problem. Yuko straightens up and claps excitedly. Great. Now, hurry up and talk about something else in case someone comes in. How's the school treating you? Pretty well, actually. I've been running in the mornings with... Ifurozaki, right? Yeah. How'd you know? I served you two in the tea house, remember? I deduced that you were going to run with anyone. It would probably be her. She looks pleased with herself. Impressive. Anyway, yes, we've been running in the mornings. And, we kinda started dating. Yuko claps her hands together excitedly. Really? That's great. I bet you two are great together. I'll bet you two are great together. I love seeing people find one another like that, you know? I even thought to myself when you walked into Shanghai that one time, I wonder if that kid will wind up with one of those girls. Really? Yuko doesn't seem to notice my somewhat weirded out tone and nods affirmatively. Yep, I can tell that you'd wind up with one of them, you know? I've got an eye for that sort of thing, so there's a timeline where we would end up with Rin. Of course. Her expression droops slightly. I'm not so good at it myself. I'm sure that's not true. Oh, it's true. I wish she was around now. I met this guy once. We got along really well, but it turned out he was younger than me. And that was kind of weird, but not terribly so. What was really weird was that he disappeared one day, and I've not seen him since then. Huh, that does seem kind of odd. Doesn't it? I hope it wasn't something I did. I feel compelled to reassure her. I'm sure it wasn't. He just died. I intended to try and calm her down further, but the both of us jumped in surprise at the ringing suddenly coming from my pocket. Yuko decides to steady herself as I pull the phone from my pocket. I feel a little sheepish for indirectly causing the incident. Emmy, what's up? Oh, thank God I haven't called your phone before, so I didn't know if this number would work or whether you would pick up, and I can't. Whoa there, Emmy. Slow down. What's wrong? There's a pause on the other side of the line, during which I can hear Emmy trying to control her breathing in order to calm down. Something's got her terribly agitated, and it's trying to agitate me. Can you stop by? Like, now, or shortly after now? I really need to talk to you. There's a tone of pleading in the last sentence I don't think I've ever heard from her. Of course, I'll be right there. Hold steady, okay? In my increasingly agitated state, I've apparently started saying things that don't quite make sense. Okay, I'll be okay. See you soon. I press the button to end the call before slipping the phone back into my pocket. Apologize to Yuko for run off. I wonder what's wrong with Emmy. Is it something about her leg? Perhaps at some point I should have stopped to think about the time or how suspicious it looks for a guy to enter the girls' dorm at this hour. Except right now I'm just concerned with getting to Emmy and finding out what's wrong and how I can help her. I knock on the door and then greet her with a subdued, "Come in." Something's very wrong as I stare at the scene before me. Emmy's there, yes, but she's in a wheelchair. And her legs are missing. I glance around the room and see them sitting in the corner, looking like they've been thrown there. Emmy responds to my entrance with a lopsided grin and is both pleased to see me and completely, utterly heartbroken. "Hi, Hisao." It looks like she's been crying, but if she was, she stopped now. I notice that I'm a little out of breath, having taken the stairs 2 at a time in order to get here. My heart doesn't seem to mind the strain, though. I file this happy fact away for later consideration. Like when I am not staring somewhat dumbstruck at my girlfriend in a wheelchair. Realizing I've still not responded to her greeting, my brain blurs into gear. Like, just hear the clutch grind, like... Emmy, what happened? Or, yeah, just hear the clutch grinding, I meant. I guess I should have listened to you, Hisao. My leg's got a nasty infection. I'm not allowed to run on it for at least a couple of weeks. She gives a bitter laugh that shouldn't be coming from her. I can't even walk on it. I should have used a crutch and kept one of my legs, but I didn't see the point. Why hop? You can't run on one leg. At least this way I can still, I don't know, roll fast or something. Gotta go fast. Yeah, that's good, right? My awkward attempt to look on the bright side seems appreciated, but not really effective. Emmy shrugs again. It's just kind of a nuisance. I mean, we can't even eat up on the roof now. No wheelchair access. Yeah, but that's not a big deal, right? I mean, we can still eat together, and that's the important thing. That lopsided grin again, it hurts to look at it. I suppose so, yeah. Always gotta keep looking at the bright side, I guess. But like I said, it's a nuisance. I mean, I haven't really used a wheelchair in, she thinks for a minute. Maybe 7 years? Something like that, anyway. Is that when she lost her legs? A long time. I'm afraid I'm a bit out of practice. Well, fortunately, it's only temporary, right? Emmy nods. Oh yeah, of course. It's not like I've lost them permanently. But it's a pain in the ass all the same. I nod sympathetically. There's not much else I can do, after all. What am I going to do? Say, I told you so? Although I did tell her to get that leg looked at. By the time I noticed, it was too late anyway. Do you need help with anything? Or, that is, can I help with anything? Emmy shakes her head and there's a bit of her usual grin back. Nah, I can manage fine by myself. Although, if you want to help me over to my bed, it would save me the trouble of rolling over there myself. I blush in spite of myself. Emmy giggles. You're such a prude, Hisao. I'm not a prude, I just won't want to take advantage of a young woman such as yourself. What is this song now? Letting my heart speak. It's ungentlemanly. I wheel Emmy's chair to her bed and easily scoop her up and deposit her there. She quickly sorts herself out and sits on the side. She's actually a little heavier than she looks. It would be rude of me to observe this aloud, of course. Oh no, what could be the worst that happened is saying you're heavy, but he did it. Man, you're kind of heavy. You're kind of... Oh, yep, smack. Emmy hits me with a pillow. I thought she slapped him. Ass. Just saying is all. Must be all that running. At the mention of running, Emmy's grin falters slightly. Heh, well I guess I won't have to worry about that for a bit, huh? Maybe I'll lose some weight. That's what you do to lose weight. That's what you do to lose weight, right? Cease physical activity? Yeah, that makes sense. I'm pretty sure that's what the nurse would recommend. Speaking of which, are you still going to be showing up in the mornings? I'd hate to run alone. Ah, shit. Emmy said it in interjection more a disquiet muttering than anything too profane, causing me to look over in shock. Emmy's leaning forward, trying to cover the fact that she's crying by covering her eyes with a hand. Of course, the subdued sobbing makes it pretty obvious that she's crying. Oh, that's sad. Hey, I'm sorry. Oh, look what you did. Forget I said anything, okay? I place a hand gingerly around her and pull her close. I can think of nothing else to say or do. How do you comfort someone who's just lost their legs again? Emmy wraps me in a hug and stays that way for a while. Sorry. I'm pretty bad at this whole comforting thing, I guess. Don't say that. I'm fine, really. Her voice is slightly muffled by my chest. I pat her head reassuringly. That's the spirit, right? You'll get through this fine. I know it. Besides, I'm here to help you, remember? Emmy lifts her head and stares at me with tear-stained eyes. Can you? Can you really? She's grinning lopsidedly and something sparkles in her gaze. I can't tell if I'm being mocked or not. Of course, I mean, sure you're a bit heavy, but oomph. My witty comment is cut off by the sudden press of Emmy's lips on mine. I'm caught off guard and then rewarded by hitting my head on the wall behind her bed. Oh yeah, that probably felt great. Ow. Emmy pulls back, trying to look concerned rather than like she's about to laugh. No, I laugh, but also ask if you're okay. Are you okay? Sorry. I rubbed my head ruefully and grinned back at her. Caught me off guard there. Is that going to become a habit? Am I going to be lectured by Shizune and Misha more? Ruefully. At the mention of the duo, Emmy giggles, expressing sorrow or regret, especially when in a slightly humorous way. That's the rueful thing, okay. At the mention of the duo, Emmy giggles. Honestly, those two. If I didn't know why, I'd be a little confused why she hangs around with someone so bossy. Which one are we talking about? You know exactly which one, Sal. Misha's hardly bossy. So what's the reason, then? Huh? The reason why Misha hangs around Shizune? Emmy waves my question off with a smile. No idea. I see. That's weird. Anyway, you seem to be forgetting the original question, don't you? Oh yeah, I guess I am. You wouldn't mind giving a guy a little warning, would you? Otherwise I'm liable to line up with a concussion, heart problems, and a concussion. I emphasize the point by rubbing at the back of my head. Emmy giggles madly. You could wear a helmet. Yeah, just anytime you go to see Emmy, just have to wear a helmet in case there's any walls around. Some kids here do, you know. Or I could just take revenge. How are you going to do that? I grab a pillow from beside and whack Emmy over the head. Oh, she fell. Emmy topples off the bed and lands on the floor with a thump. That's mean. Her arms promptly reappear on the bed and she manages to pull herself back up. She really has a surprising amount of strength in that little body. Her face is turned downwards and away from mine, making me think I might have accidentally hurt her. Emmy, you okay? You didn't hit your... A hand shoots up and grabs my collar. She pulls me in with a sharp tug, her face now barely an inch away from mine as she grins cheekily. Emmy? Oh god. She gives me a sharp headbutt, our foreheads making quite a loud thud. What was that for? I sit back and rub my now sore head as Emmy smirks victoriously. How's that for revenge? No fair. You can't take revenge for revenge. Of course you can. For someone who's missing most of her legs, Emmy's surprisingly agile. I swipe at her, but she definitely rolls out of the way and lands a hit with her pillow. Of course, the odds are against her. I can stand up, for starters. Oof. No, now you can, I guess, if she's sitting on you. She does look cute here, though, I guess. Guess I can't, after all. Emmy seems to have effectively tripped me up, and is now sitting primely astride me as I lay on my back. I'm not even sure how she managed it. I win. Her eyes twinkle mischievously. I've been thoroughly defeated, and by a girl that's a fraction of my size, at that. Then again, being defeated doesn't seem quite so bad. Emmy being positioned over my waist is something that I, or my body, can ignore easily. I open my lips to speak, but Emmy's head darts downwards before I can get so much as a word out. I give no resistance as she presses her mouth to mine. Not that I'd want to. This is different somehow. Oh no, are they about to do the nasty? I hope not this soon. She pulls back, nips at my lower lip, and reinitiates the embrace. Her tongue darts inside my mouth, exploring. I can feel warmth spreading through my body as my heart begins to beat faster. My mind starts to go foggy, and I become vaguely aware of my hand traveling up Emmy's blouse. Emmy gasps as I reach her breast. There's a giggle, and then I stare up at Emmy. I stare up at a grinning Emmy. Ah, you perv. Told you, that makes my second win now. She's using her feminine wiles again. Oh, I said it before I even read that. What? That doesn't count. You use feminine wiles. All's fair in love and war, right? She's winking. Ha, and you're even blushing. I didn't know you were a blusher, Sal. You were blushing too, you know, probably because of your prudish ways. Emmy, Even I've got to admit this is a stupid thing to say to a woman who's currently straddling me and has been, up until a few seconds ago, playing tonsil hockey with me. What is tonsil hockey? I never heard that. A prude, am I? Well then, let's see who blushes first, shall we? I'm not sure whether the tone of her voice terrifies or arouses me, but that question is quickly made rather moot. Oh god. In a motion of practice, she peels her blouse off and tosses it carelessly aside. Her bra and skirt quickly follow it onto the floor. Well, that's going to be hidden. Or, that's going to be censored. And in the motion of practice, she peels her blouse off and tosses it carelessly aside. Her bra and skirt quickly follow it onto the floor. Ha! I fight the urge to blush. It's a rather hard task. Oh, our shirt's missing too? Escalation, is it? My own shirt follows suit, albeit with some difficulty thanks to my position. Emmy mocked yawns. You'll have to try harder than that. Ah. My hands gently caress Emmy's bare skin, causing her to shiver. It would seem that my hands were acting on their own again. If her position had let me, I'd probably have finished undressing for her. I tried to say something about how Emmy's starting to blush, but both of us were very rapidly reaching the edge of something barely holding us back. The conversation grinds to a halt, and I feel my arms losing energy. Neither of us, however, is prepared for the sudden new sensation. Wants the music to become one. Oh no. An indescribable heat surges through me, from both myself and, it seems, Emmy as well. With one hand on my chest to steady herself, and another holding mine to make sure that I can't have my way with her body again, she looks quite pleased with herself. And then, at her moment's hesitation, she moves, and she moves again, and again. As she moves, Emmy's breath hitches. My breathing is starting to come faster, and more and raggedly as well. Emmy's body shivers and shudders against mine. I can feel her starting to lose her balance. It must be hard for her to keep steady because she's missing her legs. I steady her as best I can, cupping my hands around her backside. It's firm and taut. Makes sense considering how much she runs. The potential power in those muscles makes them flex as she responds to my touch. What I fail to take into account is the fact that my attempt to steady Emmy kind of slides her forward and, well, it feels amazing. Her panties slide easily against my trousers and it doesn't take long for us to figure out a rhythm. But Emmy refuses to keep it going. Emmy refuses to keep to it, going now fast, now slow, now pausing for what feels like an eternity. I'm not sure whether she's doing this to toy with me or if it's to make her feel better, but I'm well past caring. The heat between us is growing more intense, and I can't hold back a gasp. The noise only seems to drive Emmy along. I begin to punctuate her movements with some of my own, which causes her modest breath to bounce in time with my movements. Her breath begins to come fast as we continue, my own breath becoming equally quick. With her eyes closed, her lips purse expectantly. I just managed to lift myself up for a few moments, our mouths seeking one another, her chest sliding against mine as our sweat mingles. As I flop back down, my trousers are soaked with sweat. I would take them off if it didn't mean stopping what we're doing. I don't want to stop what we're doing, stop this growing pressure, this tickling in the back of my brain. Emmy is sliding faster and faster, panting heavily, her voice seemingly unable to convey what she's feeling. Her body, on the other hand, is doing a fine job. Suddenly she moves a little more erratically as my own breath hitches in my throat, ending in a final desperate thrust that sends me over the edge into a surging feeling I didn't know existed. Oh. Interesting. My mind blanks, fills with white noise, and I succumb to the feeling of climax. For a few seconds, everything else in this world falls away except for this amazing feeling of Emmy and I together. And then it passes, the white noise clears, and I'm left staring up into the eyes of the girl atop me. For a few minutes, neither of us speaks. The sound of our breathing fills the room, our chest heaving from the experience. She eventually reluctantly shifts off me and sits against the wall. I join her. So, did I blush? I didn't notice. Did I? Emmy Chug still breathing a little heavily. Didn't notice either. Well, maybe we should. I need to use your window. Oh, that's a bad time to walk in. My first instinct is to hide, but then I realize I'm still utterly exhausted and sitting next to a topless Emmy, so there's no running anyway. Emmy, Rin's eyes pass over Emmy and me and focus on the window. There was a cloud. A cloud? Rin nods. I was watching it from my window, but it didn't stay in my window. So I need to use your window. And it shows little causing me to cough in order to cover up a giggle man. How long do you need the window for? We're, busy. This time I can't contain my laughter. Rating towards both Emmy and me peers out the window. Her shoulders slump and she looks disappointed. It changed into something else. Disappointing. What was it before? Emmy's having trouble keeping a straight face. Sorry to hear that, Ren. Yeah, sorry we interrupted your clapping. Can we have a little privacy now, please? Ren shrugs as if to say can you and hooks her foot around the door, pulling it closed behind her. We both dissolve into raucous laughter, unable to deal with Ren's bizarrely timed visit any other way. After our laughter dies down, I look to Emmy. We're both a total mess. Well, Emmy raises an eyebrow. Well, again? Emmy grins and laughs, and then she nods. We should probably ditch the clothes this time. Oh, they're actually doing it. Didn't know this game was going to go here.